Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Leadership Talks podcast. Today, it's a very exciting guest that I have, Julia Quinn. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Wilka.
Yes, Julia, I'm so excited. We've worked in the DC market for some time, and now I have the pleasure to welcome you here to the podcast. So please introduce yourself.
I am Julia Quinn. I'm opening director of sales and marketing for the Hoya Hotel. So I've been in the market for about 17 years. So excited to bring this hotel to life in sometime late spring, early summer.
Awesome. And how did you start in these 17 years here in the DC market?
I actually started at a short stint in at the front desk at the Jefferson Hotel, which is a classic. Before they went into renovation, that was my into the hospitality business. I didn't know anything about it, and so that was my in. I met a lot of friends there in the short time that actually are still my friends in the industry. That's how I ended up at the Hoya Hotel, because it was a contact from the Jefferson Hotel. I'm sure you know Slava. Slava has been in the market for a long time too. So she was my connect to Crestline and my referral. And so then from Jefferson on, I was lucky enough to, once we closed for renovation, lucky enough to get a job as a sales coordinator with Starwood at the Westin Georgetown, and then kind of took off, right? Like I spent a lot of time, a few years in the Starwood, which was great. And then decided to take a leap into the independent world, which was not easy, but it was a great choice because I really wanted to know the marketing side of it, and that was kind of the key to go an independent route.
Well, yeah, that's great. But I wanted to actually get, your insights on how do you lead your team, and especially how do you lead yourself from, managing different aspects of the sales department in
Yeah,
these different brands and independent hotels.
it's all hands on deck, independents and small hotels or select serves, like all hands on deck. You need to know everything about the business, right? Like you can't physically know everything, but I think as much as you can about every single side of it, right? Some of us come up in groups, some of us come up in BT marketing, right? Like my goal was to know whatever I came up in, which is group, but like also know through the years learning everything else that my colleagues are doing and learning. So, but I mean, in terms of leadership, I mean, it's really, I'm a former athlete. Well, I'm still athletic, but I'm a former athlete. So I think like kind of like athletic mentality, right? Like you're always busy. You're always finding new things to do. You're always finding a next goal. So this is kind of like, I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I played a sport all my life, all my childhood, all my teenage years. I actually played volleyball here in Georgetown, where we're opening a hotel. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so, but I knew I liked people, and I wanted to make special experiences. That's really the only kind of two things I knew I could do easily, and it was natural. And so I kind of fell into that, right? I started in restaurants and bars too, but like hospitality. And then what appeals to me now, it's always kind of like it's a competition always. It's always some sort of a game. And then you have team players, and you're as good as you're never going to win if you're playing by yourself, right? It's a team sport. And so you have to figure out what everybody's strengths are and how they can contribute, right? Like, so, and there's times where you're like, okay, well, I don't think that's not right fit. You're not a volleyball player. Maybe you're a basketball player, right? You need to go somewhere else, like to play, right? So it's really, and it's not anything bad. It's a person just has a different set of skills that needs to be in a different set of sport. So, but I think it's just really kind of leading by example at all times, right? Like I work all the time, but I don't do this because like I'm just passionate about it as a part of my life. So it's not work, right? So I consider myself like, so kind of overall, it's my leadership kind of as an athletic style.
I love it. I love it.
Right?
And
Like
I
I'm the
love
captain of
the
a team.
analogy.
Right. Yeah. Like the energy, the excitement of it, the wins. I mean, like there's very hard to substitute the wins that you experience in sports. It's exceptionally hard. Like I live it through my kids now, but like when you win yourself, that feeling is indescribable. So
I know.
right, like it's incredible. And the losses are just as hard, if not harder, right? So that emotion is really hard to like replace. So I think in hospitality, getting these wins and contracts and fine, like, and money, like, you know, that's bringing the, you know, money to the organization is huge. It's a huge win, right? And then you lose the competition. You figure out like, okay, let's watch game tape and figure out what we're gonna do for the next win, right? How do we gonna win the next contract? So a lot of these parallels, I think, like basically make me a leader that I am.
Yeah, and I love the analogy because I have to bring it back a win that I had in volleyball from all places.
Of course, you're from Brazil. Like you come from a land of volleyball. Yeah.
But also, so huge shout out here to Destination DC for putting that
Uh-huh.
activity for all of us here in the DC DMV area, because I was like back with booking back in the days, and my team, we were only like, I think we had 3 people playing, and we didn't, train. It was just for fun. And then next thing you know, we got with these other people, and they were like, oh my god, these people are professional players. Next thing you know, we won the competition first place, and I was like over the moon
Yeah.
because it reminded me of that feeling when I was playing in school. And I'm like, I never was good in volleyball. I was like a soccer goalie. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I have the medal till
Right.
this day because I kept. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a huge win.
Yeah.
But I totally, understand exactly what you're saying. The feeling like this is, hospitality for us in sales too. It's like, oh, you're gonna bid, you're gonna go for that, you're not gonna go for that. And then when you win the contract, it's
Right.
like, oh, finally we got a contract. And I was like, okay, what is the next play here?
Exactly. And that's the next play. Yeah.
And how we are gonna make, right? Like the fight to the finals, right? Because it's not just signing a contract, right?
Right.
We gotta talk to our operations team how we're gonna deliver that, even if you have, a food and beverage included, event space, etc. But I really believe that us in sales, we have to work very well with the operations team. And sometimes the operations team, they do have a different goal, right? In
Right.
terms of, hey, we're gonna what is it, save on commissions this month, and sales, you need to bring more groups because it's more direct contracts. So how do you, my question here is, how do you play along, with the operation needs, and now especially, because you are opening a hotel and you might have a group coming in for summer, and then a date might push back because we all know that those things on openings happen. So I wanted to hear your play with between sales and operations teams.
Well, I mean, like, as I started in operations, right? Like, even though it was 4 months and then went to sales, but then I went back to operations, being on the floor as a conference services manager, even though it's a part of the sales team, you really are with operations. So, really figuring out how to learn all those parts of the business, which is, again, I think, like, highly recommended for any seller, right? Like, like, you can sell, but if you don't know like, it's nice to know actually how it's executed. So, for me as a conference services manager, I was actually banquet manager first, then conference services manager. So it's like a step process, right? Could I have become a sales manager in my first go? Yeah, but like I think that really helped me understand the business because I didn't know anything about the background of the business. So, and for me, like I need to know all the details in order to be able to formulate what I'm selling. So that was really, so I think, I mean, it's just bringing it together. They're an extension. We're all one team at the end of the day, and like I encourage my sales team to include everybody in the process, right? Like ask the questions, make the operations team proud of the process because they're going to be just as excited to welcome the group if they had a say on how the business is going to go, right? Like don't book an event that doesn't make sense. Makes sense to you. You just want to sell it and make money, but like let's ask operations team how we're going to execute it. Like, is it going to work? If it's not going to work, then you're going to eliminate that frustration when the event does show up on the property, right? Have I made mistakes probably through the process, and like my team has, I mean, yeah, of course, but like it's not always, not everybody plays by the book all the time, but that's my ultimate goal is always to involve operations team. And I think of over the years, and I've had great relationships with the ops folks because they're so important. Like they're important. There are extension of us. Like we cannot do what we do and bring you know, VIP clients or just for anybody, like without the support of the operations team. It all fails, right? We can be amazing at selling, right? Then booking all this business. But if the ops team doesn't feel like they're a part of us, then it doesn't make sense anymore. So
Yeah, and I also, I like what you mentioned about having that operations background, because everybody is different, right? Like when you say, oh, my client wants what is it, a buffet breakfast with all of these hot items, and
right,
then you're like, but we have a schedule of menus,
right.
right? Like we can't guarantee these are going to be for the breakfast. So
Right.
it's like having that conversation. I think, during the our one-on-ones, stand-up meetings with the team is one, but then also involving as well the revenue teams, right? Because you are like the eyes and ears from them, because sometimes revenue, they just want you to push rates and
Right.
not really understand like what is happening in the market, or how can you shift from your competitor next door, or why not. So I like exactly, and I agree 100%. You have to play as a one team, because that's how you get the win, right? That's how you get to the final line and to the 5-star review.
Right.
Um, but I know you
Yeah,
do
like just
have.
to add to the revenue folk too, like, right, folks, like there is always this perception of like sales and revenue kind of like not seeing eye to eye. I think friending your revenue manager, right? Like you guys are on the same team. You have two sets of brains, right? And it's just like complements each other, right? That you have to figure out how to complement each other in that process, because at the end of the day, again, it's always about the overall performance of the hotel. My sales team can again be stars and making their numbers and just being like accolades right and left. But like if I know if the rest of the group doesn't feel the same way, it's not going to be successful. If the revenue director is not making their transient numbers, okay, so what's the problem here? It's like, am I taking all his rooms on the group side, right? Like if they're not making the right financial decisions, we're all going to struggle. So it is like that is such an important relationship in hotels, which I've seen not be very successful. Like I've ever since I started selling, revenue directors were really interesting to me because they felt completely different. They were more like there was so much more honed into the numbers in the process versus me of like the bigger picture, like can we get this in the door, like this is going to be so great, and like we get caught up in the motion where revenue folks like, okay, let's look at the numbers, and which is I think is a really should be treated as a complementary relationship, right? So
Yeah, and especially to, you pointed out something that I also wanted to add a little bit. Like I remember when I was, a green sales manager,
yeah,
in New York, I had great, so fantastic revenue managers that they were actually taking time to explain to me
right,
why I couldn't take their group under that rate. Right. So it's like learning with them. I think it's definitely an important approach and piece of, the puzzle, because in the end of the day, if you don't use a displacement analysis, you're not gonna get the group,
right,
and the hotel is not gonna be successful in the end of the day. So communicating, right, that to the clients that, oh, like in downtown DC, I've had that experience multiple times. I had great relationships with embassy folks, and they were like, oh, we have this training coming in spring. I'm like, oh my gosh, is your group dates are coming during
right,
cherry blossom in DC.
right,
I cannot, have a 199 rate. This is like, we're talking 5 years ago. This
yeah,
is downtown DC. This is the busiest time for us in spring, right? And I was like, I cannot do that. I'm so sorry. And it's like coming to explain and deliver that, no, I can't do that, but I can meet you, not at 250, but maybe 235.
right,
But thank God that there is, displacement analysis. And nowadays, I wanted to
yeah.
hear your thoughts of, with these AI tools out there, and, how you guys use those tools to make better decisions in your hotels.
Oh man, I'm full in. I'm full in, and I encourage everybody on my team to use it. Crestline is a good big co-pilot user. That's what supports. But I mean, it's how you use it, right? Like you have to, just like a salesperson or a new employee on your team, you have to train it, right? To speak the language that you want to speak and present things in the way that you want to relate them to people. So I'm a huge proponent. I use it all the time. I use it for the sales process, for the marketing process, presentations, everything. but again, like I've spent some time training it, like training Chad and training Gemini into prospecting, huge prospecting tool. Like, could not make it easier for you. Like it's almost there, like, here, have it. You don't even have to do anything. Like, it's incredible how but it's not like it's, I think there's definitely liabilities to that long term, probably for the younger generation if they don't use it correctly. But I think for us, it's a, in the sales process, it's a huge time saver. Some presentations or some things that are took me days to complete, I can do it in an hour, right? Like after figuring out and kind of like manipulating data and conversation and put in. So I mean, unbelievable. How about you? Do you use it?
Oh my gosh, I love it too. And especially, because I'm Brazilian, my first language is Portuguese. So
Mhm.
I try to use in different settings, but then I use my style.
Yeah,
Even like the other day, I was talking to somebody, a colleague, and then I sent him a article that I posted on LinkedIn, and he's like, "Is this AI or is this really you?" I was like,
right,
this is me. It happened, right? Like I
right,
was in Portugal and it was great, or blah blah blah, and I had this experience in XYZ hotel. So it's like people are getting, I think there is the human side that, people are getting a little bit scared, I
right.
suppose, right, of how AI is advancing so much. But I use it all the time too, and I loved using those tools from the branded hotels back in the day because they were already starting for revenue and rate wise, rate shops, right? And I was like, oh my god, I just need this access to know what everybody else is selling. Forget about call arounds. That's amazing.
I know, it's like summers. I mean, it's also like, I think I have also took an opportunity to learn from it, right? Like I'm not an avid reader. Like reading is not for me. Like I'm moving around all the time. Like reading is not, unless it's very captivating, it's not for me. Very short, short sentences, short paragraphs. But I think and I also, you curate how you want to communicate certain messages to certain demographics, and like I'm in a new setting in a university, right? Like I need to make sure I establish a certain way of communication within a university because there's a lot of very smart people here. But it's when I am curating some of my emails and I'm like running through chat, and it's teaching me how to, and like I've noticed over the course of the year, like of the months, that speak better at times. I formulate things better, and just like you, I'm foreign, so English is not my first language. So some of the things doesn't flow as well. Reading or no reading, but like this really has helped me to formulate things better and shorter, more concise. But you have to read it. You have to read everything you put in there, double check, because it's not obsolete, right? And so that's one of the things I want to teach my kids. Like you can use it. It's great. You can time saver. You're going to learn a lot, but learn from it. Like learn what you're doing, what you're putting in there.
And I love that you put it out there too, that the another topic that I wanted to bring it up is because once you are raised in another culture, right? And then you come to, DC. I lived in New York City before I came here, but DC is really a melting pot,
But,
of cultures. And it's like really for you to communicate with different clients, again, not just not talking about just the language, but it's like
right.
extending their culture.
Right.
So it's like, how was that transition for you, from actually, where were you raised?
So in Moscow, Russia. So I kind of was raised between here. My dad was a diplomat between here in DC and in Moscow, but I didn't really have too much exposure to like the U.S. schools or anything. We had everything at the embassy, the Russian embassy. So, but I really, again, like I love hospitality, and it's a part of my life. Like I've always wanted to learn English, and I was like I want to speak English. I don't want to have an accent. Like I really just I love it, and I want to do. That was my goal. As a kid, right? I don't know where it came from. And I was like, I just didn't like the Russian accent, right? So, but I think this is, when I came here, Georgetown was my first home, and which just makes it so special to be back here and bring what I do now for a living to, after 17 years to bring it back here. Like it's so special and it's so great. Some people are still here. Some professors are still here. Some coaching staffs are still here that coach me not coach me in volleyball, but we're in the athletic department. So my first step was exposed to Georgetown culture, right? Like it's a very like niche group of people, right? Like overly like super smart, overly educated. So it's just that was my first introduction. So I think that was very beneficial into kind of establishing the expectation of what that group, like the group of people that has, and kind of the communication between students and professors here. But then the international group was easy, probably just like for you, right? Like I think we like flow really well. We understand there's a lot of cultural overlaps through, because we're all expats, right? Like we kind of have this common goal. So I think it was I think for me it was not too hard to adjust because I already knew kind of DC really well from the geographical perspective. But then I was had a lot of different groups of people covered as well from relationships.
So I guess it's easy also for you with the embassy business, right? And
Oh,
especially
I
being
throw it in all the time. I was like, I used to be in the embassy. It's very relatable, but in sales, like like I never ask for this. I tell the team, I was like, and I was like, I never ask for the sale. For us, it's like you got to establish a relationship, and people sometimes just like want to work with you, right? Or they don't want to work with you, right? Like it's not like, okay, what are you gonna do to give me this business? I'm only talking to you because I won the business. Like I think the best part of sales is that you can have conversations with people over the months, and they think of you the first time they have something, or they refer someone. And so that's kind of the best way for me to just, it's not even selling. It's just like, for me, it's a natural way. Like, I don't build relationship for the sake of getting big business, right? I think my best business came from people that I just became connected with, had interactions, and then exchange emails. Um, so,
Yeah, I love this piece too. But I wanted to ask you right now, do you have somebody you already mentioned in the beginning of the call about this Svetlana from the Jefferson, but do you have that mentor that really, you want to give a shout out now? And how did that, change your perspective, in the hospitality business?
it would be fair. I mean, I had a lot of great people in my career that impact, and it's not just the leaders, it's really the team that taught me a lot. Like my Hotel Washington team really taught me a lot because um, it's they're really the first ones that I really got to take from like a big project, big and branding in a pandemic still, and like we built something together, right? And I learned a lot about management and expectations. I'm still learning, but like I think my team members probably the most I learned from. But there's a lot of people in the industry. Like one of my I always say, like, from the contractor perspective, leadership, like Dave Walsh of the Fairmont, like he was one of I always tell, I was like, I've learned the most from him from the contract perspective. Like he would sit down and walk you through everything. So I think that was my big kind of learning curve with him. But a lot of different directors of revenue, right? Like director of revenue, R&D managers were very impactful because I've wanted to learn about that part as well. So I'm not going to name names because there's too many, but really special people. I mean, like I've been very, very lucky, and I end up in situations and opportunities in DC where people rely on my recommendations for staffing, right? Like and I'm grateful for that. So that it means they trust me. But I also always stand by my recommendations too. Like I want to make sure people I'm recommending are truly the ones that I believe will support people I used to work with. So
Yeah, and I actually have a shout outs here. You just made you're saying that in your team, but Marcelo, we worked together
yeah.
in California. We met like in a
He's Brazilian too. He's from
he
Brazil
is
too.
from
Yeah.
Brazil too, and
Yeah.
he always told me, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, when I see you in Destination DC events, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just saw Julia. Oh my god, I love her. She's amazing." And it's like really you have this genuine connection with people that you work with, your team members, and this is amazing to see because even to this day, how long ago was that you guys worked together? I think it was
Yeah, like Wink. It was Wink time.
yeah,
Before the pandemic. It was 1920. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's really sweet too.
yeah.
Always preferred me too. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely bumps around the road, but I think people, the ones that it didn't work out with on the team, like in some ways, still there's some sort of relationship or support, right? Like, so it's but it's gonna happen, right? Like you can be everything for everyone, and it's not gonna, like, my style doesn't work for other people, right? Like, and so, and it's okay. There's gonna be always a group of people that will work for me and
Yeah.
not work for the next director of sales, right? And then that's what, yeah. So it's an exciting world that we live in hospitality.
But I'm always excited, especially on those events and networking opportunities we have, because not just to see familiar faces, but also to catch up and meet new people,
Yeah,
right? And this
that's
is a
what I
big
am.
part of our I think this sales mentality of we develop relationships, and not because I want to get something from you tomorrow,
Right. Yeah.
right? It's like it's natural. I think I saw you last time was like summer last year, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God," and I see you're doing all these great things. And Georgetown, I had no clue that you were an athlete there, and this is a beautiful full circle.
Yeah. That was a great story. And I saw it was a tough time. Actually, I was having a really actually rough day that day. And so it was a rough morning, and I saw you, and you really made my day. And so I remember that, and so that was really great. And it's, again, like to your point, like it's nice to have this industry. Like have obviously excited to see like my alumni friends for volleyball, my alumni friends for reunions with Georgetown, right? Like those just warm your heart. It's a part of your life. But then the hospitality is is my family too, right? Like it's just to see all the people and like everybody knows each other, right? Like, so it's nice to see the newcomers. I feel like I don't go to as many events as I want to now, especially with the kids. Like, yeah, I have a lot of basketball nowadays. But it's nice to see to run into everybody. It really warms your heart. And then once you go, you're like, my gosh, I'm like, I need to be going to more of these, because these people understand what I'm doing. We're all in the same boat. Like it's truly the same. We do the same thing every day, in just in different capacities, right?
But yeah, I like that too, because I have to tell you, when you were at the Hotel Washington, I did attend happy hour for an embassy folks. They invited me, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, sure, I'll go. And I was like, blew my mind. I was like, this is amazing. The first night,
Hotels.
it's like the hotel is beautiful, the bar view, it's incredible. But I think there is also the opportunities, like you mentioned, like for the first, the next generation of hospitality folks, like, yeah, you got to go to those, you got to be attending these events. So what is your thoughts, Julia, in terms of for the people that are aspiring or inspiring to get into the hospitality schools, and lately in workplace?
I don't know about hospitality schools. I feel like a lot of folks end up going to corporate route, right? And I think there's definitely tough to see people who like to from the corporate perspective. Sometimes it's tough, right? If you haven't worked in a hotel and you're running from the corporate structure, it's really tough to relate that what you're doing is the right thing to do for the hotels. But I think just people I feel like this is, I kind of led myself to this career because of the two things I said earlier. But like, try. You gotta like it, right? Like you really like gotta love the process. Go through the whole thing. Go through the whole process. Get into some sort of like a management trainee program and see if this is for you or not, right? Because then you'll experience all the departments. You'll understand what you want to do long term. Because like when you're coming into a hotel as a front desk manager, I had no idea. Or I was just a front desk agent. I had no idea what the sales team did, right? Like when it like engage, so like start and try to do some sort of like a development program to understand if you really want to be there. If you have an opportunity I know like Hyatt's and Hilton's and Marriott's, they do offer that, and like explore the world and see where you want to end up. So you're in the right hospitality field, because there's this field for everybody, right? Like sales alone, you have 5 different parts of sales, and you can just stay in one of them, right? So I think, and sometimes when you find yourself in the crossroads, this is a great business to really help you understand what you want to do. And then, if you really love taking care of people and making special experiences, this is it, right? If that makes you feel better every day and you want to do this, like it's one of the businesses. I obviously have other opportunities, but this is a great business, right? Like creating special moments when people come into their room and you have something special for their kids. that is, when it's done to you or you do to someone else, that's like sometimes a reversal. It's like a win, right? Like it's again, an athletic win. You made someone's a kid's day, makes your day.
Yeah, I have a sweet memory of that. Like it was a little girl, 5 year old, and we did balloons and had cake for her in the meeting room, and then we
Yeah.
surprised her. And then to this day, her dad talks to me, messages me. Oh, my daughter still talks about that birthday.
She's
That
25.
I know, right? She's already like 20.
Yeah. No,
But
it doesn't have to be like a grand piano or the most expensive champagne, right? Like it could be a cookie and nobody expects it, and that makes your whole experience. And people will come back for that. We're a part of this. I was just talking to my general manager about this, and I was like, after traveling so much in the last 3-4 years, like hotels are such a part of the travel experience. We are a part of the trip. Like if you stay in a great hotel, I guarantee you, and you spend a little bit more money, like your stay is going to be that much better. Your experience, your memories are going to be that much better. If you stay somewhere, you're like, oh, I don't really want to spend money in the hotel because I'm there for like 3, like, just to sleep. It changes your memories in a sense, right? Like it's important where you sleep, wake up, and what that morning experience or night experience is. So we're such an important part of people's journey. The money they spend, working all long hours and like taking their families on trips and like earning all this money, they need to, like, that needs to be a perfect part of the experience. It's not always perfect, but it's definitely an amazing memory. It's great to be a part of it. It's great experience it from a traveler perspective as well. So this is where I'm like really excited about the Hoya Hotel, right? Because this is going to be a lot of my alumni friends coming through, a lot of my, a lot of families coming through, educators, faculty, right? It's and then we have, a very important part of the campus is the hospital, right? There's a cancer center in the hospital, and there's a transplant center without the hospital. So there's a lot of people who are going through a lot of life changes and a lot of life decisions, and maybe last days of their lives. So like that's the compassion that our team is going to have to figure out how to, relay and really feel. It's going to take a special group of people to experience this, because it's going to be an impact on everybody, right? So I'm looking forward to training, kind of like being a part of the training for the team where we create that compassion and guest services and excellence in that regard.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to come for a hard hat tour because I know it's already happening.
I have so many.
This is I opened a property too in New York, was upstate in Westchester in Yonkers, and it's a lot of work, but like the fun part is like once you get the hard hats, starting, and you tell that story to the guests, and so they can visualize of what this is going to look like. The experience is awesome. So one last question, and I know we're getting at time, but thank you so much, Juliet, for being here and speaking to the Leadership Talks audience. But if you say like globally, right? Like if you have one amazing experience that you stayed in a hotel, where would that be?
My past experiences or
Yeah.
my wish list. So my husband and I think it's just probably the event ultimately, but it was a pretty phenomenal hotel. So I stayed, we went to Peru. We went to do Machu Picchu and hike Machu Picchu. And we stayed at this hotel, Taldo del Inca in Urubamba Valley in Peru. And that was, my husband and I still talk about it. We've stayed in multiple hotels. I've worked in multiple hotels, and that is our first. But we also got engaged at that time. So it was already a special moment, right? That's a special moment. But I still remember. It was a luxury. It's still a luxury collection hotel. I still remember the smell of the lotions, like the showers, the bedding, like everything, every part of that hotel I remember. And that's huge, right? For the hotel that I stayed one time 15 years ago, right? 16 years ago, whatever. So, but yeah, what about you?
Well, actually, while you were talking about, the hotel experience and all, I just came back last year from Auckland, New Zealand,
Uh-huh.
and I got this independent branded hotel, similar like to the Hotel Washington. It's called SLS or South Auckland.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, South Auckland, but SLS is another one that I love too. And it was so amazing. Like literally like this experience of, I like in Brazil we don't have bathtubs or
Uh-huh.
soaking tubs. We only have showers. So it's like every time that I'm in a hotel and they have this beautiful soaking tub, even though I have one in my house because I renovated my bathrooms and I want one, I love it.
Yeah.
And they also had a beautiful bathroom, like, like a almost like an open space. But one thing for hotels, from layout standpoint, some hotels in the US, if they have a view, even if it's a city view, they don't put the bed facing the view. They put
Uh,
it sideways. And I
the
was
side,
like,
yeah,
why is
very
that?
strategic.
you know and every time that I'm abroad I was like, oh yes, these people understands.
Right.
Yes, I can sleep and
The
look at
view,
the
yeah.
window if I want to,
Right.
and it was just fantastic. And then of course, right, the benefits of food and beverage
Oh
Amex
my gosh.
credit. Oh, I was so I did this right as a hotel, professional. I went with my mentor and I was like, oh, let's just stay one night here. And then we were taking a ferry to go to another island, whatever. And then he's like, oh, why did you pick this? And I was like, don't worry, it's a nice location. So then when we checked in, I ordered the drinks to be delivered in our rooms. And I knew his drink. He had a Negroni. And then the person went to deliver before he even got to the
Oh,
room. I was
okay.
like,
Yeah.
they nailed it, so that
Yeah.
experience, not just for me, but for him. And then I saw, because he's like 74, and then
Yeah.
I saw him posting on his WhatsApp status the picture of the drink in the beautiful
Yeah.
hotel room. I'm like, this is amazing, like it
That's it,
was just
yeah.
fantastic experience for us. And I think, it's a small, right? It's a small
All things,
thing.
yeah.
Like just for the team to even be out there before he got to the room was fantastic.
I know. It takes special teams. I mean, it really does. And when some of us gets taken away, it's really it's a deflating experience, right? Like you really but it's funny. Like I think by generation, like every decade, you have like a different need, right? Like I feel like in my 20s, I was like, oh yeah, the W's are like the smell of like, leftover bar smell and like cigarettes. That was like the W smell. I feel like for SLS in LA, I stayed and like it was like that was like I was like, okay, that's cool. That's my jam now. Now traveling like with three kids under 12. You're like, okay, I need to make sure the beds are comfortable, the showers are beautiful, like, or there's a nice bar so we can get it like afterward, like they can be on their tablets. I can go to like the bar downstairs with my husband. So it's like now it's just a whole different level, like where before like, oh, I'm gonna go like hope there's like a club upstairs or something, or like whatever is like within walking distance. Or now it's just like more strategic in the 40s, like you're just like, okay.
It's
But
different.
it's like, yeah, it's a little bit more elevated and like more sophisticated than was before. But there's a decade for everything, even hotels.
Yeah, for sure. Julia, Quinn, thank you so much for being an awesome guest
Thank
today at the
you.
Leadership Talks podcast. It was truly a pleasure.
It was fun catching up with you too. Thank you.
Yes. Take care, guys. Thank you for listening.